So I've been on a search for years to recreate stuff from my childhood. And I don't know what, maybe we're all doing this and I don't know, maybe we all do it. I should say this is the Ball Podcast here with your friend Rocco the comic, and continuing, I've been on a search for years for things about my childhood. All right, so as many of you know, some of you may know, I grew up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Right, my first when I was born on 20th Avenue and 76th Street. All right, and I went to elementary school at PS 186 on 19th Avenue between 77th Street and 76th Street. And when I lived on 20th Avenue and 76th, I had the same routine after school. Okay? My mother and my father worked, so Nonna was the one who picked me up. And every day after school, Nonna would bring me to the corner deli on the to the lady to the corner deli up next to my house. We didn't call them bodegas, by the way, in Bensonhurst. So whenever people talk about bodegas, this and that, I never really connected with that because we just called them the corner store. That was it. It was the corner store to us. That was what the store was. So we went to the corner store, and uh it was an Asian lady who ran the store. I want to say her name was Linda, right? And I remember my biggest claim to fame was how excited I was on Chinese New Year to see Miss Linda and say, "Go and get fat choy." And then she got so happy. You know, anyone will get happy when a fat little kid says Happy New Year in your language. All right, so I digress. So every day after school, which now looking back to it explains a lot of this, right? But ignore that. My nonna would take me to the corner store, and I would pick up a Big Juicy. And a Big Juicy was, listen, I'm still looking for the Big Juicy because I can't find it. I mean, now what they call the hugs. You've seen that, the quarter drinks, but now, and then some of them are bigger with the squeeze bottle on top. So Big Juicy was that, and I used to get an orange Big Juicy, and then I used to get the Hostess cupcakes, the chocolate ones with the swirl on the top. I used to get one of those and a Big Juicy every day after school. I'd go home. I'd sit in my room, and I had a TV. You know, it was an old ass TV that only had the knob channel, so I only had like a few of them. But Channel 7 used to show cartoons after school. I used to sit there with my Big Juicy, my cupcake, my cartoons, and that was it. That was my after school experience. And till this day, every few months, every few weeks, whenever that thirst for nostalgia comes along, you'll find me Googling Big Juicy. And ironically, Googling Big Juicy sometimes does not get the results that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a drink, not Big Juicy guys in my area. So the algorithm needs to figure that out. But I do try to find Big Juicy, like the taste of that. That hand gesture saying Big Juicy taste is not. Let me keep my hands to my side when I talk about Big Juicy things because, yeah. So I've been searching for Big Juicy for so long. And I don't know if anyone else remembers that drink because that was my thing, man. Orange Big, oh my God. And they still have the Hostess cupcake. I think it's Hostess. They all those, that whole section looks like one same brand to me. I just know what it is. They still have those cupcakes, but it does not have that same effect You know, so I'm still chasing that. Still chasing that taste, that feeling. And I don't know if there's any correlation to chasing that feeling and the loss of my parents and stuff like that and moving from Brooklyn. Um a psychologist might say yes, a psychiatrist might say yes, but we're not here for that. We're here for the nostalgia, right? So that was my after school thing. And then I used to watch the Looney Tunes, but it was not the old Looney Tunes. It was like the newer version. I forgot what the show was called. And the Tasmanian Devil was my guy. Tasmanian Devil was my guy. Probably because we had the same waist. Actually, no, his waist was pretty good. He was like more of a upside down triangle. Bro, look at that body. Wow. What a physique. I wish I had his metabolism. And then so so that's what growing up was. And that's sometimes I find myself thinking about that stuff. Like here again. So growing up, the first few couple years, maybe 2 3 years of elementary school, Nonna was the one who picked me up and dropped me off because my father and my mother worked. Then my father got disabled. He had multiple spinal surgeries and he was a barber. So the two don't mix because when you're a barber, you have to stay on your feet the entire day, and being on his feet caused him a lot of pain. So he ended up not being able to work anymore. So, and around that time, we moved from 20th Avenue and 76th Street to 18th Avenue and 77th Street. Literally just moved a few blocks away. Ironically, to the corner of PS 186. So now I could see the school from my house and I could see my house from the school. And yet I still managed to, like, hate having to go to school. Bro, I wish anything I did was that far from my house. I wish. So, again, trying to. Oh, but we skip back for 2 seconds. I'm going all over the place because I do not write outlines. This is just me talking to you. I'm just talking to you. Whatever happens, I don't making sure I actually press record and I'm not just talking to nobody right now. Uh, Another time, and I don't remember what made it either go from the corner store or get pizza. It might have been when I had to go to religion. I I hated religion. I hated CCD. I so on those days, I think my nonna would take me to Mike's Pizzeria. Mike's Pizzeria was on 20th Avenue, across from on 75th Street, across the street from St. Dominic's. Mike's Pizzeria is another staple of my childhood. For some reason, like Mike's Pizzeria was good. It was really good pizza. It wasn't the best, but for me, the taste of Mike's Pizzeria always brought me back home. It always it's something that always clicks for me. And obviously Mike has passed away for years now. I don't even know when he passed away, so I don't know if the pizza tastes the same. But Mike always had like he used his sauce had like a distinct flavor. And not that it was a bit, but it was, I don't know, hard to explain. So I always remember, this is a memory of mine, my nonna taking me to Mike's Pizzeria. I'd get pizza, and then I'd get a small cup of soda, right? And I could still taste the cup because it was that paper cup with like that wax on it, and the way the soda tasted in that cup, you can't match it, right? And the pizza. And I remember sitting there with my nonna, and magically nonna never got pizza because I think it was a rule for nonnas never to eat with anyone else. Maybe it's something that happened, like just like when you go from being a mom to being a nonna, you have to go through a training course, and the training course tells all the nonnas, listen, now no one can see you eat. So you guys only cook, and then while everyone else is eating, that's when you start cleaning up the kitchen and don't eat with anybody else. Right? Because Nonna never got a slice of pizza with me. She would always watch me eat the pizza, and that's it, and then we would leave. But yeah, again, I don't remember what was the difference between going to the corner store, what changed those days. So now fast forwarding to when my dad was home and Nonna wasn't the one. Well, because at that point I didn't really need to get picked up or dropped off when we moved to 18th Avenue because you literally could see the school was half a block from my house. Okay? So when my dad was home now, what he would do is he would always pick me up for lunch. You know, I never brought lunch to school. When he was home, I almost went home for lunch every day. And I still remember my class was on the 4th or 5th floor of PS 186, and I remember going down the staircase of school, and there was that one window where you would see out into the schoolyard, right? I would see out to the schoolyard, and I always see my dad standing in the same spot. Until this day, that image is vivid to me. If it was raining, I would see my dad with an umbrella. And if I saw that, I knew I was going home for lunch. And I'd go right outside the door, and my dad would take me home for lunch. And my dad, he would either have pizza for me, or he would go to Gino's Focacceria that was on 70, I want to say 74th or 73rd and 18th Avenue. Okay, either way, wherever it was, and he would get me a rice ball. And remember how I said I'm searching for Big Juicy? Till this day, I have never had a rice ball like Gino's. And I've been searching for that rice ball since they've closed. And this is not even a joke. It's not even an exaggeration. And if you've ever been anywhere with me, you do know that if I go to any restaurant for the first time, any Italian place for the first time, and they have rice balls on the menu, I try them. Because I'm still searching for anyone who makes a rice ball close or anywhere near Gino's. And I haven't found anyone who has done that. I've had good rice balls, right? So like Tutto Calcio in Whitestone, great rice balls, right? I had just had rice balls from this place called Savona's up near me. Good rice balls. Not Gino's. I don't know what it was about Gino's Focacceria rice balls. They were the big one. They weren't small. They were about this big. All right. I don't know if that's even easy to. They were maybe like 3 inches in diameter. I don't even know if that's it. I have no idea. I know they were big. They were not the little rice balls. They were big. They had this deep golden brown color to them. And they were uniform all the way around. And the outside was crunchy, crispy, just perfection. The inside had like the rice was yellow. You know, the risotto, whatever they used was yellow. Then the middle had a perfect bolognese sauce with mozzarella inside. Perfect. 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 I cannot tell anyone anymore how perfect these were. Until this day, I cannot find it. I cannot find anyone who makes a rice ball like that. I'm just constantly searching for things, looking back. And then I start thinking about other aspects of like childhood and things like, do you know now basically that most kids aren't going to experience ringing someone's bell and not knowing what's on the other side. And not that they're ringing a stranger's bell. So if I wanted my friend Enzo to come out when I was a kid, if I wanted him to come outside to play, I had no way of contacting him unless I went to his grandparents' house and rang the bell and hoped that he was on the other side of it. If not, I had to speak to somebody and tell them my intentions. And sometimes you got yelled at, depending on who's the bell you were ringing. Because if you ring the bell at the wrong time, or they're doing something else, you got yelled at. Kids these days don't have to worry about that because they can just text someone and say, hey, come outside. You know? And I think about how many times as a kid did I call my mother's office to ask a stupid question. You know? Like, I would call my mother, someone would answer the phone. I would say, yes, is Gaetana there? And then I'd have to wait. And then my mother would answer, and I'd say, hey, Ma, what's for dinner tonight? Or, Ma, there's no food. Or can I eat this in the fridge? Is anyone get mad if I eat that? Ironically, every one of my questions are about food, obviously. But no, now that's not happening. You're not calling anyone blind. Because now you just text your parent. My kids will text me a question. You know, if I'm at work, they can just text me. They're going to call my cell phone. They're not going to have to speak to someone, and have that person get me on the phone. It's that whole, and that's why kids these days are antisocial. That's why kids these days can't really ask any questions. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. My kids go to the barber shop, and I tell them in the car, this is what you tell the barber. And then as soon as they sit in the chair, the barber asks them what they want. They look at me and point. And I tell them, I said, but you know what to tell them. Tell them. That's what I do now. Now I just send my kids to ask for things. Because they need to learn to be comfortable. I did it when we were in Italy. Even though they don't speak Italian, I would tell them how to say whatever they needed to get through to go do it. But that's my entire thing is trying to find stuff from when I was a kid. Trying to hold on to, and I know I did an episode on this about how people who are stuck in that old school mentality and they want to raise their kids in that old school mentality. And again, there's extremes to it. There's realistic aspects to it. This has nothing to do with how they're raising kids and stuff. It's just me trying to connect with that time that's gone. You know, and I'm still. It just came to me now. This one, for a brief time. I don't know if it was the makers of Sunny D who came out with a new line of drinks. And I don't think it was successful because it was only out for maybe a couple months. So Sunny D came out with this drink called Eclipse. And I still remember the commercial. It was someone on a beach or on a boardwalk. And once they drank the drink, the eclipse happened, whatever it was. But that drink was phenomenal. Phenomenal. And here's the thing. A lot of people still don't remember that drink. That not even ChatGPT knows what I'm talking about when I ask it about it. Because that's how crazy I get when I'm in these modes. Is I start asking AI now to help me discover. Like, I explained my love for Big Juicy to ChatGPT to try to locate me something similar. And it comes up with nothing. It was giving me like Calypso or so. Like, bro, you don't know about Big Juicy to be saying Calypso is equivalent. I did the same with Eclipse. and it had no idea what I was talking about. No idea. So my entire thing is just something about the past that I keep trying to reach out for to just relive. And ironically, most of it's food, which is not ironic when you look at me and you know I was a fat kid anyway. You know, like, and some things I don't know if they're still things anymore. Like if I say rice ball special, do you know what I'm talking about? Because I don't know if that was a thing outside of Brooklyn. Because I've yet to see it on menus anywhere. Because the first time I ever had a rice ball special was at Joseph Avenue U. Right? And then I started, ironically, Crispy Pizzeria is this huge thing now. But when I grew up and when I lived in Brooklyn, it was just my local pizzeria. Right? That's where I got my rice ball special. A rice ball special, for anyone who doesn't know, and now knowing this is going to change your life. And also, anyone listening to me say this, who owns a restaurant, who owns something, and will be adding a rice ball special to their menu because me saying this, you have to now name the rice ball special the Rocco the Comic. Legally obligated. If you didn't have a rice ball special on your menu before March 24th, 2026, any rice ball special added to a menu starting March 25th, 2026 has to be called the Rocco the Comic. Please, for the love of God, if I can just please have that named after me. Okay. A rice ball special is a large rice ball it's in a aluminum tin, sauce on top of the rice ball. Sometimes they smush the rice ball to open it. Sauce over the rice ball. Ricotta on top of the rice ball. Mozzarella over the ricotta, melted. Under the salamander. Rice ball special. Rice ball special. Bro. Game changer. Right now, and again, I might be talking out of my ass because everyone might know what a rice ball special is. Maybe it's because I live in West Bumblefuck that I don't see these things as much. But I do not see rice ball specials anywhere. I don't see all these food reviewers reviewing rice ball specials. Are we on to something? Please, for the love of God, say we're on to something. I don't know. But like I said, if you are a place of business who sells rice balls, and now after hearing me say this, are going to have rice ball specials, they're the Rocco the Comics. Please. But yes, that might be this. Listen, it's no surprise that food is a connection to my childhood. Look at me. Okay? Growing up, food meant love. The people who loved you fed you. My mother fed me. My Nonna fed me. Zia fed me. A kumare fed me. A signora fed me. Everyone fed me. And you weren't allowed to say no. And why'd they feed me? Because deve crescere. You have to grow. You have to grow. Feed him because he has to grow. At no point did anyone say maybe Rocco's growing too much. Let's stop feeding him. Let's stop feeding him. But we're here now. This is what we got. You got a fat Rocco because this is how much everyone loves me growing up. Everyone loved me growing up. That's why I'm fat. So yes, my entire dream of nostalgia is chasing the food from my childhood. Because I cannot. Some of it is connected to not living in Brooklyn anymore. Some of it is just connected with time. Like Big Juicy and Eclipse, that's a time thing. They just stopped making it. Gino's is a mixture of time in Brooklyn because they closed down years ago. And I'm not near Brooklyn. And some of it is my parents. I still long for my father's cooking. Like my father made the best meatballs. He made melanzanicini. I love melanzanicini, which, if you're Calabrese, you obviously know what that is. It's eggplant. It's like an eggplant and pork meatball, basically, flattened into the skin of the eggplant and fried. It's love. I still long for that stuff because my father could cook up a storm. My father was a talented chef, and he's not a chef. No, he wasn't a chef. But here's the thing. My father always said that his mother wanted a daughter and then ended up with him. Because my father, again, I might have said was the baby of 6 kids. Right? Baby of 6 kids. It was 5 boys, 1 girl. So my father spent a lot of time with his sister. And his sister taught him how to cook. And she was a magnificent cook. And there's only 2 people in the world who knew how to cook like my tia Giusy. And 1 person and 2 people. Her daughter Rosa and my father. So when I went to visit in Italy in 2020, Jesus Christ. 2020, I went to Verona and I think they said, well, what do you want to do? Because I went to go see Rosa and her family, and they're like, do you want to go out to eat or do you want to cook? And I said, no, cook. Because this was a year after my father passed away. And I knew what was coming. That I was going to again taste my father's cooking because Rosa was cooking. And it did not disappoint. It did not disappoint. And I tell it to everyone. My father was a magnificent cook. And that's stuff that I miss. I don't know how to cook like him. My wife still complains that I don't know how to make sauce like my dad did. I don't know. I watched him do it. I watched him make sauce. I still can't recreate what he did. How does that make sense that I watched this guy do it, but I can't recreate it? I know how to make the sorpazzata like him from watching. That I got. I can't do the sauce. So, it's crazy, but again, it's all that nostalgia, and it's a great feeling. And then sometimes if when you do get those little glimpses, or those little moments, or the experience of having something that brings you back to another time is a great feeling. There's this one thing that always reminds me of Giosa. And then that is the little torrone, but they're not regular torrone. They're not I think they're called torrone. They sell them at the markets in Calabria, right? It's like peanuts. It's like peanuts covered in like sugar caramel type stuff, in like a toffee almost. And it's flat, and it has like paper on both sides of it, white paper that you can eat. the taste of those brings me to Giosa. And you can't find them here. So when we went to Italy 2 summers ago, we loaded up. But that's it. Nostalgia. And if anyone watching this episode can help me recreate Big Juicy, Eclipse, anything I mentioned, reach out to me. But seriously, the Rice Bowl special being named Rocco the Comic going forward, do it. Do it. Alright, guys? It's your boy Rocco. What the hell was I going to do there? Thank you for listening. RoccoTheComic.com for all your Rocco the Comic needs. Shows being listed, new merch, whatever. I love you. God bless America. Rice Bowl specials. Let's go do it.